let me draw from your personal experience.
Yes.
In the capacity of a broadcaster, journalist, and an administrator in the media sector, do you think we're getting the right vibe from the government away from investigative journalism? Because sometimes we have that kind of discourse between the executive and the electorate. They get to speak to the people, and sometimes people say, well, these are questions not being asked by the electorates that we're talking about, selected or questions posed before these people. Have we in that sector been able to do or get the people what exactly they want?
Well, I'm glad you raised this point, because it's one of the issues that I have. Okay, right now, in December 2014, we know we're going to have elections. We're supposed to have elections in February 2015. And so today, whatever news channel you watch, whatever newspaper you read, it's politics. It's who's going to win in the primaries, who's going to do what. Now, right now, there's no attention being paid to governance. We're all sucked into politics. Now, my belief is this, that even while all this is going on, there are some places in this country today where young people are taking very impressive initiatives of their own. They are going after issues, like I know somebody who told me recently that she is interested in school-age children who are not in school. And she's actually doing something about engaging them, engaging their parents, and seeing what it is we can do about this, because that's a whole percentage of our population that is not receiving the benefits it should have today. Now, things like that are going on. Do you ever hear of them? You don't, because we're all focused on what the politicians are doing. At the end of the day, these politicians, they'll come up like froth and they'll go back into wherever they go. But those initiatives that are there all the time, we should find a way of highlighting them. I would say, for instance, that even in our news organizations, let's say once a week, we give 2 or 3 minutes to some young person who is taking an initiative that we know is constructive, that can lead to sustainable benefit for younger people in this place, and say, look at what this person is, or look at what this group is doing. It will encourage other groups who have ideas to try and do the same thing. What's more, it will tell us, the whole population of Nigeria, that it is not politics that this is about. It's about what human beings are doing to live a life and to manage their own resources and their own affairs. Because, you see, someone described me in a paper recently as apolitical. I'm not apolitical. I'm very political, but I'm not party political. And we've got to make the difference. So if we get drawn in this direction of party politics, we're going to ignore the things that really make for a good life in this nation. And that is what I think the media should be after.
Well, this message for me, if I distill what I get from the last statement, is that change is possible, but you have to start from yourself, your immediate environment, and look at what is important to you and what it is that you really care about. But a lot of people will say, I've done this, I've gotten discouraged, I've not seen the kind of, not applause now, but the kind of
recognition, acknowledgement,
feedback I should get. It would seem that there is some sort of apathy, that things will never really change, and that I will just be that little drop of water that will make no difference.
And you know the reason for this. For some people, just surviving every day, it's an issue, because they have found themselves in that position. But the point is this, that whether we like it or not, this country if it's going to get better, cannot be built on this apathy we're talking about. So we've got to find a way of waking people up to their rights and to their obligations. So for me, and that's why I think those institutions that we have, the media, the church, those things that people participate in should be able occasionally to say, now look, all right, we know there's a lot going on politically, but let's just look at what is happening. We have unemployment in this country. Should we have unemployment or not? There is a lot that needs to be done. Shouldn't we be able to find a way of getting people to do what needs to be done and doing it profitably for themselves, productively for the nation, but profitably for themselves? If we think about these things, I think it answers your question that yes, when you try, those who have a vested interest in what we're doing today will of course oppose you, and they will say, you know, get away from here, there are more important things to do.
But again,
but you who have a vision for the country.
There's certain bottom there, because talking about vested interest, I think it gives us another opportunity to change things and rewrite things now that we go to the polls. If your grandchild, your children, they come to you and ask a question about qualities and things to look out for in anyone seeking elective office, what would be those qualities that you would want us to look out for as we go to the polls?
You know, it's interesting that we sometimes forget that in fact these values and these qualities begin from home. I don't know many parents who will teach their children that it is right to do something wrong. Everybody wants his child, his ward, to go in the right direction because they know that that is what is sustainable. Now, what we need to do, if a child comes to me and asks, what should I expect? The first thing I would say is, when they talk to you, when they communicate with you, do you have a way of checking whether what they're telling you is the truth or not? Because any future that is built on falsehood is going to crumble. That we know for certain, because eventually the falsehood will be discovered. Therefore, those values that we cherish in our families should be the values that we share with our children and say, look, test whatever you see on the truth. If someone says to you that this piece of paper is white and you can see that it's blue, well, use your own intelligence to say, no, I think it's blue. You know, one of the things that we need to develop in our young people is the ability to express and to articulate their own position. And if somebody wants to tell me something that I know to be false, I don't have to accept it. It may cost me something not to accept it. So I'm not, and that's why I mentioned sacrifice to start with. It may cost me something, but I can always stand up and say, no, I don't accept that. That's what we all need to do, because eventually those who want to do what is wrong have less to lose than those who want to do what is right. And because they have less to lose, they can be as carefree and as, you know, they can practice as much impunity as they like. Those who want to do what is right cannot afford to practice impunity.
Well, in closing, I think some would want us to ask you, because, if you have any regret ever serving in the government.
Certainly not. I don't have any regrets at all. And I'll tell you why. Look, we tend to think that because certain people have served in government and we can see that they have done it wrong, that means everybody will do the same. On those occasions when I have volunteered and it has always been voluntary, to serve in government, there are people very dear to me who have said, don't do it. But I've said to myself, look, when I volunteer to give service, I am not serving a government. I'm not serving a president. I'm serving my country. And my philosophy of life is that whatever I want to do for my family, my school, my country, must be the best I can offer. Now, it may be that those in charge of things there don't appreciate what I'm doing, but that must never stop me from offering to do it. So I have no regrets.
Well, Christopher Kolade, would like to thank you so very much for coming on Sunrise Zone today. He was former Nigerian High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, and he also chaired the Shopi program.
Yes.
So when you spoke about unemployment, that means you know what you're talking about. So many Nigerians are unemployed, and you would love to see them get their hands on something. Once again, thank you so much for finding time to join us this morning.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So as it takes a moment now, we'll return shortly to look at another burning issue with another guest. Stay with us.